What's up guys, and welcome back to Tech Plant. Today we are doing the third update in our grow diary. Let's check it out. Alright, 39 days has passed since our last update, and that puts us at 2/23/2021. The growth has been substantial, and you can see many of the plants are actually starting to flower now, so we should be getting some fruit pretty soon. So that's actually really exciting. Starting with our leafy greens, let's take a look at the cabbage plants. They do have some nice color, and actually there's quite a bit of different variation amongst all the cabbage plants, which was a little surprising to me, but maybe I have heirloom seeds or something. I'm not really sure, but there's quite a difference. However, there is good growth on almost every single one. Some of them are actually producing part of the actual cabbage head, so that's pretty good to see that coming along. Switching over to the Korean melons, you can see that there's quite a bit of growth here. However, one is quite a bit longer than the other ones. I think I may have overwatered the other one, which kind of stunted its growth. Looking in a little bit closer at the vines, kind of where the leaf connects to the stem, you can see small, tiny little flowers starting to form. I got to figure out how to actually pollinate these things, but the fact that we're getting flowers is a good sign. Moving on to my favorite, it is the tomato plants. Again, this is the micro tom tomato. It's a very special species that only gets a little under a foot tall. So they may look like they're not growing very fast, but trust me, they are. They are covered in flowers, and in some cases, even some green tomatoes. I'm really surprised how much fruit they're actually putting out for being such small plants, and they're continuously flowering, which is nuts, because that means we're gonna have a heck of a lot more fruiting elements on these plants, and it's gonna get pretty wild. I'm a little unsure on how this tiny plant is going to kind of support all of these tomatoes, but we'll have to find out and see. As far as pollinating these things, all I kind of do is flick the flowers. Really, that's all it takes. Once they kind of look open and mature, just kind of flip them back and forth a little bit. Not too violent where you snap them off, but enough to kind of shake them up and get that pollen flowing. It'll kind of blow around inside the flowers, and they can kind of self-pollinate. This usually works pretty darn well. This tiny one is my absolute favorite. I definitely want to keep some seeds from these just to kind of keep breeding an even smaller and smaller plant. I know it's kind of pointless, but this thing is hardly even an inch tall, and it's producing tomatoes, and I think that's just absolutely incredible. In case you're kind of new to this series, I've been keeping these in a grow tent, and there are two previous videos about this, and right now the light is still only at 50%, so we're getting a lot of growth with only half the wattage that this plant can actually kind of pump out. Alright, moving ahead another month, we are at 3/23/2021. Let's take a look at these plants. Starting with the Korean melons, you can see that they're vining out quite far. I think we're at about 1.5 feet at this point, and if you look closely, a lot of the flowers are in bloom. I am kind of struggling to get these to pollinate, but I'll figure that out soon enough. Eventually though, these are going to need some kind of trellis. I'm just kind of hoping to transport them outdoors and kind of let the bees and everything else do their work. Next up, we have the tomatoes, which are my favorite part of this entire grow diary. They are covered in fruit, and most importantly, it is turning red and ripening. Starting with the most tiniest one, the one I love the most, that one has produced the first most reddest tomato, and I'm absolutely proud of them. At still only about an inch tall, it is producing red fruit, which is simply amazing. While pollinating this bush, I did notice a really interesting flower. This one looks or appears to have 3 different flowers all in one. So I'm curious to see what kind of tomato is going to come out of this. Will we get 1, 2, 3, or kind of 3 meshed together? I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it. All of the tomato plants are in full swing. They have tons of blooms on them and a lot of tomatoes at this point. Like I said before, we're starting to see a lot of them ripening up, so I'm going to get to taste one pretty soon. I can't state this enough, but I absolutely love this species. Hopefully I can get a ton of seeds, and maybe I can help sell them or distribute them to you guys, because a lot of people asked where I got these, and the place I got them doesn't sell them anymore. Now that we covered the good news, let's cover the bad news, the spooky news, the creepy crawly news. That's right, you're looking at spider mites. All of my cabbage plants are absolutely covered in these things. For some reason, I didn't really think that these would get spider mites like some of my tropical plants, so I wasn't checking them very closely, and I let it get a little out of control here. I do have these quarantined away at this point, and I ordered some predatory mites, but spoiler alert, they don't seem to be doing anything at all, so I'm going to make a video dedicated to these pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. But I think for now the cabbage plants are out of the running, and we're just going to focus on the tomato plants for the next few updates. Well guys, that pretty much sums up this video. I hope you liked the update. It was really cool to see such tiny tomato plants produce red fruit. I'm super excited to try it, and just to see how much I can really get off those little trees. It kind of sucked to see what happened to the cabbage plants, but I do have a plan for those pesky spider mites. As always, may your plants grow strong and healthy. I'll see you next time.